SEC contenders and pretenders panic at the NCAA office, and coaches are making that money.
You are Locked On College Football, smothered and covered, with your host, Barrett Sallee. Your one-stop shop for everything college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome in. Thank you for making this your first listen every single day. My name is Barrett Sallee. Appreciate you checking out the show. Reminder, subscribe, leave a comment, do all of that stuff. If you don't do the podcast thing, please share it with your friend. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. One $5 bet will get you $200 in bonus bets guaranteed at FanDuel. That's right. $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. This is a weekend coming up that we've looked forward to for a very, very long time, especially down here in SEC country. When the schedules came out last fall, we saw that one game, that game in Austin, Texas versus Georgia. We all sort of looked at the schedules that were coming out with Texas and Oklahoma, and that was the one that was like, okay, the SEC schedule makers, they did us right. They found a way to build up momentum and build up hype and all of that for 9 months. And here we are. We're here. Now, I don't think it's exactly like we planned because Georgia hasn't looked great at times, even last week against Mississippi State. Things got a little sketchy in the second half, certainly sketchier than I think a lot of folks envisioned, myself included. But here's the thing. We're going to separate Georgia and Texas in this game. And I think it's really on the Georgia side that I'm most concerned. They haven't run the football. Georgia has been below average running the football on a consistent basis this year. And that's got to change. It's a big reason why they got into a hole at Alabama. Also the turnovers. But it was a big reason they lost that game. It was a big reason why Kentucky gave them a scare of a lifetime. Last week against Mississippi State, there were other factors, but Georgia is not a complete team. And that's the biggest issue that I think that I've struggled with trying to figure out exactly how to rank Georgia, how to view Georgia, how to sort of take the bias in terms of previous seasons out of it and just judge this team for this team. And the truth of the matter is it's flawed. And it's flawed going into what I think is the biggest Texas game at home in a generation, maybe multiple generations, because this does sort of set the tone, lay the groundwork for the future of Texas football. But Georgia's not a complete team. Texas is. Texas has showed that they are. And Texas has done it in the face of quite a few questions. Quinn Ewers, who at one time was the Heisman frontrunner, goes down. Arch Manning takes over and Manning mania and all that other stuff. But let's be honest, he never was the #1 quarterback in Austin. He found a way to get Texas through and get Texas through in a way that was ultra impressive. The running back issue, especially with Baxter going down before the season, hasn't been a problem at all. Wisner last week, Jaden Blue's been solid. They found a way to make it work and work successfully. So when you look at how teams sort of, at least the top 10 teams, Texas hasn't had a flaw, hasn't shown a flaw. In fact, they've shown resiliency in the face of adversity, which to me makes them the unquestioned #1 team in the country, but certainly a team that I don't think will suffer those downturns. Their C game still gets you a win. Exactly like Steve Sarkisian planned it. So what do we think about this game specifically? We know Georgia on the road has been less than stellar. We know they can't run the football, but this is their chance to prove all of us wrong. This is their chance to show the world, hey, we're big bad Georgia. We're not going anywhere. We haven't gone anywhere. And I hate using terms like separation Saturday or whatever, but this is a chance for Texas to do that against a Georgia team that even with all of their problems is still a top 5 team. So it's going to be fascinating, and it's a chance for Texas to really show that, look, they're already back. The whole Texas is back thing is outdated, but that they can be the SEC power. They can be Alabama. They can be Georgia. They can do all of that in the biggest game, I think, in Texas in a generation. It's going to be awesome. Now, on Rocky Top, sort of the same thing, but maybe to a lesser degree, because Tennessee's offense is less than stellar, especially in the first half of the last 2 games. Like, what are we even doing here, Tennessee? You can't run the football. Nico isn't opening things up. I don't understand why you're not making adjustments mid-game, not waiting until halftime. I don't understand why any of this is happening, because we've seen what the offense can be. And now they're going up against an Alabama team that, I think Alabama has lost its intimidation factor. I think when teams walk out of that tunnel and see that crimson helmet, they don't get in their heads. They don't get up in their feels. They don't get scared by Alabama anymore. And I think that's the challenge for Tennessee, is that, yes, Tennessee needs to work on itself, but it also needs to understand that this is a flawed Alabama team, a more flawed Alabama team than we've seen since 2007. That's where Alabama is right now. They're not that great at home, except for 2 quarters against Georgia, but they've looked less than stellar. Last week against South Carolina, obviously, USF, they've had issues. They obviously lost to Vanderbilt. They've not looked good at home, and now they're going in to Neyland Stadium, where it can be one of the loudest environments in the entire country. Now, there's this quote going around saying that Kalen DeBoer isn't intimidated by Neyland, that he coached at Washington, he can handle all this stuff. Well, as Mike Wilson in the Knoxville News Sentinel points out, it's an AI-generated video, and Kalen DeBoer really didn't say that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the Kalen DeBoer video is fake. The headlines exist. They're going up in Tennessee's locker room. Tennessee players might not even know that the quote is fake, because it's going to get them that little edge. It's going to get them to a point where they want to show the world that Neyland is the best atmosphere in the entire sport. Their fans see that and say, I don't care if it's fake. We're going to show Kalen DeBoer that the atmosphere is real. So it doesn't matter that the quote's fake. It doesn't matter at all. Like, look, and there's a precedent for this. Go back and look. I know some of you don't care about baseball, but go back and look at the postseason last year, where Bryce Harper and the Phillies got all up in their feels about a quote that Orlando Arcia didn't even make. But it didn't matter, because in their minds, it was real. In Tennessee's fans' minds, it's real. Even though in reality, it's not the case. But elimination game. I hate to say elimination games are, well, Look, we don't know how this is going to go with the tiebreaker scenario in the SEC or everywhere else. No divisions across all of the major conferences now. So does a game in October really eliminate you? Well, if you have one loss already in conference play, maybe. But you also have some head-to-heads that you can use in your favor. And Alabama needs this one. For confidence, yes. Because Tennessee is, I think, still one of the best teams in the SEC. Yes. Tennessee needs it too, but I think for Alabama specifically, you have to have that confidence back. And it's going to be tough. Again, that quote circulating about DeBoer being at Washington, and it's not much different than Neyland. Some of the things, some of the places he's been in the Pac-12. Doesn't matter that it's fake. Does not matter that it's fake, because the mind can do wondrous things, and it's real. It's real. Now, no matter what AI says. Again, also don't fall for double check everything. AI, that's doing great things for our world. It also can do some terrible things. Here's an example of that. A reminder, you can become a college football smothered and covered insider. Just look at the link below. You can text me personally. I can text you personally. I can text you things I'm thinking of, ideas that I have for upcoming shows, Q&A questions that are specific to you. I can answer them via text. I can answer them on the show, or you can just tell me how much you hate me. I don't really care. Anything you want, just go look below. You can click that link, use promo code college. You'll get your first month for free. We'll take a break. When we come back, NCAA panic, and also coaches are getting paid. It's college football smothered and covered, powered by Locked On. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, when you get a big hunch in the middle of a game, I think all of us do, right? Where like last night we saw Kennesaw State get a safety. Oh, will Kennesaw State spring the upset? Well, no. But you can look at live play-by-play stats. You can figure out everything you want to know. If you get a hunch, you can place your bet in the same page where there's live stats, play up everything you need to know, all there right on the same page. Place your bet right there. You'll get started with $200 guaranteed in bonus bets if you make your first $5 wager. That's right. You place a $5 bet, you get $200 in bonus bets. It's guaranteed. Go to FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Oh, Dan Lanning is changing the world. Changing the way. We've all seen this, and it's funny because I'm not so sure that Dan Lanning is an evil genius. He might be. But using that trick, that 12-man on the field trick against Ohio State, every coach will say they practice specific plays for specific scenarios, and they never use them until that one perfect moment. And Dan Lanning said that. I remember Gus Malzahn saying that with the punt at the end of the 2019 Iron Bowl, where Oscar Chapman lined up outside and then shifted back to his normal position as a punter, and Jalen Waddle got caught deep, and it was 12 men on the field. Bam, game over. Auburn wins. Gus practiced that. Dan obviously practiced this 12th man on the field to gain a couple of extra seconds in a late game scenario. The NCAA is panicking. They're like, whoa. We did not expect this. We did not anticipate this. We did not see this coming. I have a question, though. Is Dan really the first person to think of this? Or is there some sort of cabal of coaches that have all of these loopholes sort of written down in a little black book? I think that's the case. Now, am I wrong? Maybe. But I think there are scenarios, because we've seen things like this in the past, where you really shouldn't plan for late game scenarios like this unless there's some sort of conversation going on amongst coaches. But the fact that the NCAA is changing the rule mid-season, I haven't seen that before. At least not that often. You saw it in baseball with the sticky stuff, where they check the pitcher's glove and hand going into a game, going into the dugout, all that stuff. Really bizarre times. And that's the power of Dan Lanning. Good for him. Don't get mad at him. He's just playing within the rules. Smart man, that Dan Lanning. All right. Dollar bills, y'all. 10 most compensated coaches. Every single year, the USA Today comes out with its database, and everyone gets shocked, freaking out over all the money that's being doled out. Look, the market's the market. Josh Heupel's making $9 million. Tennessee was in playoff contention 2 years ago. He deserves it. Now, the one thing that stands out, well, Eli Drinkwitz at $9 million is odd, but Kalen DeBoer at 10 also. But Mark Stoops, just over $9 million. Coming in at the bottom of this top 10 list. Why on earth would Mark Stoops get that much money? Because you look at all these coaches, and if you're listening, I'll run them down. Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney, Steve Sarkisian, Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day, Mike Norvell, Kalen DeBoer, Brian Kelly, Mark Stoops, Josh Heupel, Eli Drinkwitz, Lane Kiffin. All of those coaches, outside of Drinkwitz, Kiffin, and Heupel, which make up the back end, have either made a college football playoff, or actually they all have made a college football playoff. Lincoln Riley, not at Southern California, but whatever. But Heupel was in one. Drinkwitz led them to a New Year's Six game. Lane Kiffin did the same thing. It goes to show you just the different scales that exist for different programs. Kentucky's a basketball school. But when Kentucky wins 10 games in football, suddenly basketball takes a back seat and Coach Cal freaks out and all that stuff. Obviously not anymore. Is Mark Stoops overpaid? Of all of these coaches, is Mark Stoops overpaid? Yes. The other ones, Kiffin, Drinkwitz, Heupel, no, that's what the market dictates. There are very few head coaches out there who have won national championships. There aren't many. It's hard to do. So, unless you're Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney, Mac Brown, you're kind of stuck in a situation where you're pretty good, but you're not great. So the market dictates that. But Mark Stoops, think about how much the flirtation with Texas A&M meant to him. The street cred all the way up. Now, he's got to do something. This is a team where good, not great, has been the norm, has been where the ceiling is. The floor's still pretty low. It's not as low as it was, but if you're talking about a 6-6, 7-5 Kentucky team, okay, that's tolerable for a year now. 6-6, 7-5 under Joker Phillips would have been a godsend. But Mark Stoops has to do more. There are Kentucky fans that I've talked to that literally view him as on the hot seat. Now, it's going to take $24 million. I think it's 24 to buy him out. After this season, if they don't improve, and we answered the question on yesterday's show, what does Kentucky need to do to improve? And I urge you to go back and listen to that. If they don't improve with great receivers, a talented wide receiving or talented quarterback, theoretically a good defense, could Stoops be on his way out? The answer is no. But he's this version on the field, on the sidelines, this year's version of Mel Tucker. Hopefully not off the field. But one good year gets you paid. A few pretty good years for Mark Stoops gets him paid more than any other halfway decent coach in the country. At least Mel Tucker made the New Year's Six game. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will talk about a man who's going to make another run at superstardom to build his legacy in the world of college football. We'll do it next. It's College Football Smothered and Covered. And of course, we are powered by Locked On. Hey, today's show brought to you by Game Time. If you want tickets, Game Time has you covered from top to bottom. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Filter only incredible deals on great seats using Game Time picks. See the view from your seat on your phone before you buy. All-in pricing shows you the total cost up front. You can buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. Did this for a concert earlier this summer. Luke Bryan. It was fantastic. Super easy. Got my tickets right before we walked into the show. He was sick, but it was still a great show. I know some of you don't like Bro Country. You really do. You're just afraid to admit. It's like Nickelback, right? Y'all really do like him. You just are afraid to admit that you do. To take the guesswork out of buying those tickets, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, let's wrap up the show. Travis Hunter, he's back, of course. This is the most impressive player we've seen in college football in, I think, since Charles Woodson. Tennessee fans, I know it's a dirty word. But to be elite in 2 positions the way he is, to play the snaps that he plays, I mean, look, I know Colorado's polarizing. I get it. I understand. But this is a guy who deserves all of the accolades. And as you can see, he is back. He should play for certain. This story from Fox News that he should play versus Arizona. Can we move back to where we were a year and 2 months ago, where we were all curious about what Travis Hunter can do at the Power 5 level? It seems like maybe the narrative for Travis Hunter has evolved to a point where people are sort of tired of him. There's Travis Hunter fatigue, or maybe in the Big 12, we're just sort of losing sight of how much of a star he could be. And maybe it's Ashton Jeanty hype. Maybe that has sort of chipped away at what we think and what we should appreciate with Travis Hunter. Is he out of the Heisman Trophy race because he got hurt? Abso-freaking-lutely not. He's not. In fact, I would say right now, he's still the front runner. I know it's crazy to think, oh, he's banged up. But as time goes on, as the season progresses, if he keeps doing what he's doing, everybody's going to be reminded of him. I don't care what Ashton Jeanty does. Everybody's going to be reminded Travis Hunter is this freak among freaks. We haven't seen anybody like him in college football for a generation. Glad he's back versus Arizona. Fully anticipate him proving to the world that he is better than he's ever been. So very happy that Travis Hunter is back. Now, I will be at Notre Dame, Georgia Tech this weekend. If you read my story on 3 and Out, you'll see that we should appreciate Notre Dame. We talked about this last episode, but I will be down there to see Notre Dame up front and personal, and I guarantee you, if they go off against Georgia Tech, I'm going to write something positive about them making the playoff. I think they will make the playoff. I know you guys hate that, but it's the truth. That team's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. That'll do it for this edition. Reminder, if you want to be a college football smothered and covered insider, sign up for the subtext below. You can find the link, and I'll contact you via text. You can contact me via text. There'll be some special things going on, especially Saturday from Mercedes-Benz Stadium inside. Look at how teams are warming up, what's going on with personnel, things like that, tour of the Mercedes-Benz, all that stuff. If you want to sign up for the subtext, do it right below. Use promo code college. Use promo code college for your first month free. It'll be fun. You can yell at me too via text. I'll answer back. I don't care. It's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to have fun in sports. Isn't that crazy? Crazy thought, right? And thanks for making this your first listen. For your second listen, go check out Locked On College Football. Spencer McLaughlin does a great job getting you ready for the weekend, covering the entire sport, just like we do here. Does a great job. So go check out Locked On College Football. That link is right there below too. Go check it out. Till Thursday, we'll do Time to Shine tomorrow. By the way, Time to Shine coming up tomorrow. That's when we find out who needs to become a superstar, whether it be player, coach, team, whatever. They need to show out this weekend. So Time to Shine coming up tomorrow on the show. Until then, have a great Wednesday, everybody. We'll talk to you Thursday.